So I read online that, you started, coding, programming, design at the age of 9, and you were also even involved in uh, creating the Lake Powell app,
Yep.
right, at the age of 14.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into tech at such a young age? So you worked with a couple investors, you've raised some funding.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like pitching to them, and how were you able to manage to raise funding?
Josh James of Domo is one of our investors. Having his name behind whatever you do is always helpful, right? But he's awesome and is a great mentor and has been a great friend to me.
What's up, guys? I'm here with AJ Brau, CEO and founder of Wander. So, AJ, thanks so much for taking some time to chat with me today.
I'm stoked to be here.
So, how's your day been today?
Good.
Yeah?
Really good. Playing with my little one. Went on a little 4x4 ride.
You like to ride 4x4 four-wheelers and
My
stuff?
family has a little 4x4 UTV type thing, and I like to take my little 2-year-old on it.
Awesome. So, where are you
Yeah.
from?
I grew up in Alpine, here in Utah.
So, you're used to the old outdoorsy mountain
Yep.
range and hiking
Yep.
stuff?
Grew up skiing, mountain biking, going to Lake Powell.
So, I read online that, you started, coding, programming, design at the age of 9, and you were also even involved in creating the Lake Powell app,
Yep.
right, at the age of 14.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get into tech at such a young age?
I like to say I have a bad case of the builder bug, you could say. I started out building like go-karts and just playhouses, stuff like that. But my dad has been in the software industry since its inception, basically. And he kind of saw my knack for building things and decided, hey, let's introduce her to digital building, digital creation. So he started me out on stuff that he knew I'd be interested in, like graphic design and taking somebody out of a photo and putting them in a cool spot, cutting them out of a photo, stuff like that. Just using like the Adobe Creative Suite. It was Macromedia back then when I was using it. But yeah, started with that, and then kind of got me into more web stuff, like building websites and stuff like that. But yeah, after my mission, I decided to do a boot camp, and so that I could have a little bit more relevant skills in the coding world, and got a job and have been working full time for a couple years, and now I'm a founder. But with the Lake Powell app, we were down at Lake Powell with my family. We went like a couple times a year, but we were down there and we wanted to find where this specific place was on the lake. And so we pulled out our paper map, that everybody uses, and tried to navigate. But we didn't know where we were in relation to this place, right? Because we didn't have GPS on a paper map. So pulled out Google Maps, but there wasn't any internet, and so we couldn't use Google Maps. So I had the idea, okay, what if we took a satellite image like Google Earth, and then we put all of the places on it, from the paper map, and then, made an app. So people could use it offline, people could use GPS offline. And so I went to my dad, and he took the opportunity to mentor me and teach me a little bit. And he said, yeah, get a business plan together. I'll help you raise a little bit of money. I'll help you find a developer. And it was so fun. It was so fun. I learned so much. So I didn't do hardly any of the code for that. I was the product manager, you could say. I did a lot of the UX and worked with a graphic designer and with the developer, and then did a lot of the testing and marketing and spreading the word and everything. We ended up having a little over 10,000 downloads as a paid app, which is pretty good. So we made all our money back, and
you were 14 when this whole thing went down.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a confidence building thing, right? And I got to see a lot of different areas of what happens when you take a software product from an idea to realization to something people are using and actually loving, right? There are the National Park Service was using it as their, like, the rangers were using it to navigate the lake. We have some cool stories, but yeah, it was awesome.
If you use Google Maps, it's really hard to know where you're at if you're in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So in essence, you guys, found this niche to
Right.
help you navigate in national parks and such.
Right. Yeah. We were the first offline GPS satellite map app that I know of back then. That was We launched it when I was 13 or 14. And so that was a long time ago. We didn't have any of the mapping solutions you have today. There are tons of mapping solutions that that developers can use to build maps, but we had to build it from scratch. Like the map tiling, taking a satellite image and, when you zoom in, changing it and making it look good on all the zoom levels, all that we had to build from scratch. So so it was a challenge.
Interesting. So did you ever feel like intimidated that as a 14-year-old your product wouldn't be good enough for the masses, or?
Not really, because I knew that my family wanted to use it, and I didn't raise that much money. I just borrowed money from family, right? So it wasn't that I had big stake investors that were expecting this huge exit, They mostly just wanted to give me a shot, and all of my investors wanted to use it, They
Yeah.
mostly, and it was only like 10 grand that I raised, so it wasn't crazy. But no, my family knew that it would be value for us, and we were right that there were other people like us that wanted to use it. So I think that's a good way to build a product, is build something that you need, right? And a big enough group of people need, so you can build for needs. So that's kind of what we did. But being 14 and a girl, I was never intimidated. For some reason, my dad and my parents raised me to not kind of be intimidated by, that kind of stuff.
So who's your biggest role model growing up?
My biggest role model? My parents, actually. My mom is like a kick butt, no nonsense
Drill
lady.
sergeant?
Not necessarily. She has a very gentle touch, but she's like, no, we can do anything, right? There's no excuses. You can get it done, right? She's very successful professionally as well, and my dad was like, no, my girls can do anything boys can do. I'm not going to raise them, missing out on anything. If they want to do something, they can do it. So, yeah, my parents are definitely my biggest role models. I'm the oldest, but my two little sisters are also huge role models for me.
That's awesome.
They're smarter and better than me at everything. But
you're blazing trails for your family, and it's great to see that you had this wonderful support group growing up.
Yeah.
So now that you had this, support and this, drive to create ever since a very young age, what kind of led to the creation of Wander?
That's a great question.
And what is Wander?
Right. So Wander, I'll tell you the two problems that we see in the current solutions today. We do not like paper maps. I hate using paper map, right? It's disposable. I can't see where I am. You're limited to how much information you can have based on the space on the paper, right? I also hate downloading specific apps for everywhere I go. I hate downloading an app for every ski resort I go to, or, I usually just delete it after I go. And sometimes I don't even download them, because when I'm there, I don't want to take the few minutes and the data to download one. And so what we're building is, with Wander, is a new way of solving that problem of intra-location navigation, right? Google Maps will get you to a place, but once you're there, how do you navigate it, right? You rely on paper maps, display maps. Even trying to navigate here on campus today was kind of tricky. I was like, I wish we need to build a map for campus, right? So our solution is an interactive mapping builder platform. So these locations, destinations can build within. I took the Lake Powell data that I had from when I was 14, and I put it in our platform, and we had a map in 4 minutes, right? So we can. So these places can come in, build a map, and then provide a map for their visitors, either in the Wander apps, or they can just give them a QR code and they can have a no app download interactive map with GPS in seconds.
And this is kind of like if they already have a paper map or something, that they have written out on the computer somehow, then all you have to do is just take that and, create maps with what you're doing.
Yep.
So what's the biggest difference from you guys versus your competitors?
From what we can tell, there are very few people doing mapping services for these small destinations. Most of them build and ship custom apps for destinations, mostly for bigger destinations that can afford it, right? They charge between 50 grand and who knows, upwards of that, to pump out a custom app for them. And then, there's paper map companies. no one that we can find yet. There may be some other people in beta mode or with us trying to solve this problem, but we're the only ones that are building an all-in-one paper map replacement app solution. So we'll see if anyone pops up to compete with us, but we'll probably get there first because we launch pretty quickly.
First to market.
Yep.
Man, so you heard this, guys? When they launch their app, please leave a comment below where you think they should create maps for next. It'd be cool to see what kind of destinations that you want to see a Wander map for.
Yep.
So that's really exciting. So now what are some of the plans for growth for Wander?
Right. So we have a lot of ideas. We'll kind of see where the market takes us and where we can add the most value with our current feature set. But eventually, we'd love to build social features into it. So you show up to Disneyland, you show up to Sundance or Snowbird or anywhere, even the airport, and you can turn on friend finding and see, how many of my friends are here, right? It's kind of like Find My Friends, but inside specific locations, stuff like that. Sharing, we could go that way. We could go other ways, but right now we want to really nail the mapping solutions and see where we go from there. But we have a lot of fun ideas.
So what's the vision for Wander, and where do you see yourselves in like 5 years?
We want to change the way people go out and explore, right? The way people navigate and experience these destinations that we partner with, whether that be, a city in Europe or a ski resort or an amusement park. They're going to use Wander to navigate and to interact with their friends there, to interact with the resort themselves. Everything's going to be in Wander. That's the vision, right? You use Google Maps to get to a place, and then once you need to navigate within a place, you're going to use Wander. That's the big vision.
Awesome.
We gotta nail it, then scale it, right?
So what are some of the plans for growth? And are you looking to hire more people onto your team?
Yeah, actually. So right now we have a team of 7 partners, so part owners in the company, 3 founders, but 4 of our employees also. We're looking to hire and bring on another partner to handle our front end development. Right now, that's me. So 80% of my time is actually going to writing code right now. And I can continue that, but it would really accelerate our growth if I was freed up a little bit and I found somebody that I could trust to kind of hand my little baby over to, right? But yeah, and we are going to need to grow significantly when we start to get some more traction. But for now, that's our immediate need. So anyone here, if you know a really talented front-end developer that's looking for a sweet gig, look me up on LinkedIn.
That's awesome. One other question I have for you. So you worked with a couple investors, you've raised some funding.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like pitching to them, and how were you able to manage to raise funding?
I feel a little guilty that it was so easy. Maybe I just asked the right people at the right time, or maybe we just have a really good idea going for us, right? Or maybe a combination. But it's been really helpful. Josh James of Domo is one of our investors. Having his name behind whatever you do is always helpful, right? But he's awesome and is a great mentor and has been a great friend to me. But yeah, it's actually been awesome. I love going in and pitching my idea because I'm so passionate about it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm confident that it's going somewhere. So I'd love to bring other people along and let them join in the spoils when we go big. So
what's it like working with James?
He's awesome. So his daughter and I played soccer together all through middle school and high school. We became really good friends, best friends, and so I've actually known Josh for a while, and we've always bounced ideas. He's always, given me tips on things that I'm doing. But I remember in high school one time we were talking on the phone or something, and he said, "AJ, when it's time, you come to me and you do this the right way, you'll raise money, you'll do this the right way." Because I was trying to build things in high school, and I had like 3 projects going on at a time, and I was trying to do school and play soccer and basketball. And he was like, "That was really good advice." He said, "When you're ready to do this, you need to go all in," right? And so
And you're all
I
in.
did that, and the other piece of advice he gave me was you need to go be an engineer and learn math really well. So I went and I became an engineer, and I married an economist. So he takes care of the math side of things.
Man, that's really fascinating. I had no idea that Josh is
Yeah,
one of your investors.
But once he was on, like everybody was like, "Oh, yeah, I want to be on something Josh is on," you know. So raising money, that was a huge help, and but he thinks we're gonna go somewhere.
Do you think there's like a really cool culture here in Silicon Slopes that have afforded you this opportunity?
Oh yeah, I've been so impressed and grateful for like the free advice that people will give. Like I've done a lot of networking on just on LinkedIn and through my network, and like there are people that will meet with me and say, yeah, anytime. Like here's what I think you should do. Like whether it be I've met with engineers, CTOs, marketing guys, angel investors that have just like given me free advice and cheered me on a little bit, like, hey, I think you're going somewhere if you ever need any help. So our culture is pretty darn cool here. I think that's why we're one of the strongest economies in the country right
You
now.
taught something else, I'll say.
Yep.
Coming from Chicago and seeing this, it's really different
Mm-hmm.
from what I've seen in terms of like a tight-knit community that's
Right.
willing to be helpful to each other, right? Like in your experience, but also to, promote cool like businesses.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's like a mutual promotion, and lift each other up type of culture. It's really cool.
Well, hey, thanks again.
Yeah.
I appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to this episode here in Silicon Slopes, and we'll catch you all next time.